Hi everyone, it's Laura Rice, and I'm just going to walk you through my final project for EDCT 6012 and talk about some of the design choices I made and why I made them. So if you've read through any of my design journal, I created a course on the show Black Mirror, which is a popular Netflix show, although a season hasn't been released in probably a couple years now. Um, but it's a show that deals a lot with questions of humanity and technology and envisions sort of near future worlds where this relationship is often very harrowing and just dystopic in general. However, there are some episodes that are more utopic that have happy endings, but throughout all the episodes, which all have different storylines and different worlds, they're all kind of concerned with this question of humanity and technology and how these things interact and exist and change. Um, so whenever you open the course that I created, you come to this Getting Started tab, which I wanted to do because this is, envisioned as an online course, so I'd want students to be directed um, as soon as possible to the syllabus and schedule, since that's the first thing I would want them to look at anyway. So I added in a screencast of myself going through the course, as if I was doing it for students to show them important links, to go over some important points in the syllabus, and to just generally get them oriented to the course. I think adding these screencasts is a good way to sort of personalize the online experience, since I likely won't be meeting many of my students in person. I think it's nice that the screencast lets them watch me and, soak up more information that way, but also lets them hear me and maybe, lets them learn more about me that way as well. So we have things like our course description. Um, if anyone wants a link to my Blackboard course, I'd be more than happy to add you to it so that you can go through and read these yourself. I'll briefly go over the course description just so you can get a feel for what I was thinking with this course. It says, in the midst of the information age, discussions about technology, the way it impacts culture and society, and how the interactions between humans and technology are nuanced by sociopolitical factors like race, class, gender, ability, and sexuality are more timely than ever. According to Cherie Thomas, the editor of the collection Dark Matter, A Century of Speculative Fiction from the African Diaspora, speculative fiction has long been lauded for its abilities to offer readers, quote, bold, extraordinary ways by which to examine societies, end quote. One of the most important and popular pieces of speculative fiction of our generation, Black Mirror, provides often scathing and sometimes hopeful critiques of the relationships between humanity and technology. By applying relevant cultural keywords, scholarly research, and intersectional analysis to these episodes, this course will explore and articulate the fears, hopes, and possibilities of this relationship. Above all else, exploring this piece of speculative fiction will allow us to see the kinds of worlds it builds, as well as how we may, hopefully, find ways to remedy and prevent the structures that underpin these worlds in their often dystopic visions of the future. So under that, I've, briefly talked about the course text. Of course, students would need some way to access Netflix, but I recommended here that they can maybe organize watch parties, use a friend or family member's Netflix, before they bought the subscription themselves. But all of the materials, readings I used to accompany these episodes will be available through the Ohio University Library, so those will be open to students. We have some course objectives here. I also included a course content warning. I love Black Mirror personally, but I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, which is okay. But oftentimes the episodes can be pretty dark. There's often like violence, general just cruelty, and just general pessimism about maybe where the future is going with humanity and technology. And I think this can definitely be useful for discussion of, what structures are underpinning that, and hopefully for discussion of how we could prevent those things or stop them from happening. Um, but I just wanted to include this in case some of my students maybe hadn't heard of this show or just didn't think it would be something they like, because this would be something we'd spend our whole semester on. I included some description of my office hours, which I would hold a Zoom session at the same time every week. Late work policy, course assignments. Here they are. Lots of critical writing, which is usually bread and butter for English literature courses. Then, like, weekly discussion, a flash fiction activity, and quizzes on the episodes to make sure everyone's watching closely. And then I ended up including all 16 weeks of the course because I was developing it for another project I had. And like I said, I really love the show. So it was pretty fun for me to put these weeks together. I tried to pair, these keyword readings with episodes that I thought they would pertain to. I've also included, and also when I say keyword readings, these are just short, usually theoretical readings about the word. Um, so like this gender reading by Jack Halberstam, I think it's like 4 pages long maybe. And so it sort of condenses theory in a way where it's easy for students to understand and they don't have to like wrestle with it for 50 pages or something. I also, in some weeks, have included scholarly essays that have already been written on these episodes. So that's my general syllabus and schedule. And then, as far as my design or what I was thinking about when I chose this design on the side, I just wanted to keep it as streamlined and clutter free as possible. I know that personally it overwhelms me when a Blackboard course has a ton going on as a student and as an instructor. Um, so I tried to just keep it as simple as I could. So, of course, we have announcements here. I included a class discussion tab, and students will be required to respond to a discussion thread each week and then respond to at least 2 other people. So, each week we'll have at least one discussion thread. Week one has two because one of them is sort of an introduce yourself thread. But you'll see that they all list the readings for that week. Um, and yeah, so that's what they'll be expected to do each week. Um, then I've included a course test or a course text link tab where I've organized all of the readings by alphabetical order just for easy access. I've included a quizzes, assignment sheets, and Dropboxes tab just all in one so that any material students need for assignments is all located in one page. I included separate folders for each so that it's not confusing and it organizes things a little more easily. So I've included the first 3 quizzes, the assignment sheet for the weekly critical responses, which students would have to do each week. And then I made a screencast talking about the flash fiction assignment and providing more context and explanation as for what I was looking for with that assignment. That again is to address different modalities and to hopefully convey the material more effectively since I'll be using visuals and talking to students about it and adding, extra explanation as for what the subject matter of their fiction should be, which I wanted to talk about this relationship with humanity and technology in some way. And then the last main thing I included was this weekly schedule area. This is something I've started to implement in my work as a graduate assistant here since I've had to teach English 1510, which is a writing and composition course. I've noticed that whenever I use these tabs, students usually stay on track a bit better. And even though they should be able to, just follow the course schedule, sometimes, it gets a little jumbled and they don't remember what's due each week. So I like to add these organized weekly descriptions where students can just click on it and it says in very short, simple terms what they need to do for that specific week. So you'll see here that it says before the end of week 1, students would need to respond to the introductory prompt and respond to 2 other people's responses to get full points. They would also need to read and watch the discussion posts on speculative fiction and Black Mirror, and then respond to the prompt's critical questions and feel free to add anything else they thought of. So yeah, that is my course. Like I said, I would be happy to give you the link if you want to look at the course more in depth. But I had a lot of fun creating it and thinking about how these texts would work together. And I had a great semester. I really enjoyed this course. So thanks, everybody. Bye.